Hello again, everyone. This is Joe, and this is Stock Market Today. Today is Wednesday, June 10th. We're going to take a look at the market action of today and yesterday, and then we're going to look at several indices, our international indices. Then we've got 5 Chinese stocks tonight: Alibaba, New Oriental Education and Technology Group, VipShop, 21 VNET, and Qihoo 360. Okay, so we're going to start off here with the Dow Industrials. So the Dow was up 236 points today, big bounce back, and all the indices did the same thing. On the Dow, it pulled back up to the bottom of the wedge that it broke out of and to the trend line. So we'll see whether or not it rolls back over, or do we continue to push back higher. I'll come back to this arrow here in a minute. I'm still, looking at some kind of wave count down. We could be into a third minute wave here. Kind of hard to describe. We're just going to have to wait to see how it plays out. The S&P 500, similar type thing in terms of the way it pulled back up 25 points. It came down yesterday really close in here to the low. What was the low? 2067.93 back on May 6th. And the low yesterday, 72.14. So we didn't quite get down to here. We didn't break it. Whereas on the Dow, we did. We took out the low just slightly. We took out this low. And if you go to the NASDAQ didn't even come close to doing that, you can see. And then, we get this bounce back, okay? Doji bar, and then we turn up. So this is going to be real interesting. Is this I don't know if you can legitimately call this a morning star, because there's not a whole lot of decline that this thing is really bottoming on. And again, I'm not a candlestick pattern guru guy. I just kind of see some things that I recognize. So we'll see what kind of follow through, if this is a one-day wonder on the NASDAQ or whether we get follow through. The next is the New York Composite that we go to. And again, similar, except it's pulling back up into the wedge more than the Dow did. The Russell 2000 looks even stronger in a picture of hanging up in here versus than the NASDAQ even. All I could say is that the short-term trend is still positive. I mean, we had the intermediate trend slightly negative, but it's laying right on top right now. The 21 and the 55 are practically equal. You got the 233-day moving average down here. It's flattening a little bit. So we've got this sideways move, and really hasn't broken out of it. It needs to go below these two lows here for a breakdown. And it really needs to get above this range right up in here for a breakout, I think. So that's the Russell 2000. Let me see what we got next. Let's take a look at the short-term trading index, and I'll come back. So this is getting a little more bullish, okay? We're inching down to the 0.9 reading, the 10-day. On the 10-day, I'm talking about 10-day is 0.917, and, we're getting real close like we did right in here. And remember how this was kind of a top reading that we got. And so we're going to be watching this closely and getting some extreme reading there. The VIX, a huge collapse last 2 days, naturally, with the way the market moved, especially today, market moving. And then let's see, the next one we'll talk about is the high-low. Now this bounced back above zero. 44 more new highs. That's not very strong given up 236 points today. 44 more new highs than new lows. This has got my attention here, though, this little W pattern. A lot of times W patterns are bottoms, so I just kind of I paid attention to that. Little flag, is going up in my mind. And the put to call. Let me come back to the put to call. Okay, so the put to call is 0.46 today, and that's a one-day reading. The 10-day is dropping. What is the 10-day? Let me look over here. It's not an extreme reading yet. It's 0.59, and I don't start highlighting those in red on the 10-day till it gets below 0.55. But this one-day reading of extreme bullishness that just occurred here today hasn't been seen in 0.46. So readings below 0.5, I've got marked on the graph, on the chart in down arrows, okay? So you can see this was below 0.5 and this was a below 0.5. It's like 0.48, 0.49 or whatever they were, that type of reading. But we haven't had a 0.46 or lower since all the way back to June here, June 18th or 19th it was. I think it was the 18th, was the last time we got a reading as low or lower than the reading we just got today. Okay, so basically a year. So I think that's kind of interesting. Now we did get a huge clustering of them here. You got a few back in here. And the real key, the important key is for big turns, I think, you know, this was really interesting because I thought it was almost, it's like a prelude. The extreme optimism that occurred right here was a prelude right before this big sell-off, this two-legged down move, if you will, okay? And then we really haven't had that. And so I often wondered, was this it? Was this the extreme optimism of the top of wave 3, and then we're not getting it at the top of what I call wave 5? So now we're getting this one day in here. We're just going to have to watch to see. Now, the other thing I noticed is, where did I see an extreme reading like that once before? Okay, let me blow it up a little bit for you. Okay, look at this bounce. Okay, we had this 3-day move with a doji and a big bounce in here, and it was like 256 to... So it was comparable. It wasn't 200 points. It was about a 180 point bounce. Got an extreme reading, and then look at the next 2 days. So you know, I'm putting the old cautious flag out. We'll see what happens here over the next 2 days. And let's see. All right, that's it for put to call. Let's take a look at the German DAX. And there we go. Always knows where I want to go. All right, so the German DAX bounced back, and of course their market closes at 10:30 Central Time. I think it's 10:30 Central Time, 11:30 Eastern Time. So they're closing out ahead of us, but got a similar type bounce in terms of what was going on in the market here. And you know, I didn't look at a lot of detailed news today, but supposedly the word that the news sources are all saying is, you know, some optimism related to Greece. And I mean, who knows? I mean, those negotiations just cycle back and forth, and people just will jump on any positive news right now. Let's take a look at Russia, and didn't know where I was going to go, and I thought I had it. Okay, it was right in front of me. I just couldn't see it. Okay, so last 5 days, basically, Russia's just kind of bottomed out a little bit, and then it's rallied here the last couple of days. So, but still starting to trend down. Looks like it's kind of rolling over a little bit after breaking that major trend line in here in mid-May. And the next one is India, Nifty 50. Okay, so again, a one-day bounce on the Nifty 50, but is trending down, you know, as part of this wave down corrective type mode that it's in. And, you know, it looks like it's some kind of fourth intermediate wave. We'll just have to see, you know, it's overlapping. Let's see, the next one is Shanghai Composite. And this was where I had a target for the completion of this third intermediate wave. Okay, and so here's the second intermediate wave, the way I've got it labeled, and then a minor wave 1, 2, 3, 4. So I felt like we were working a fifth minor wave. I'm now seeing within this 1, 2, 3, 4, and a fifth move, a fifth minute wave within the fifth minor wave. Okay, so there's a high degree of probability that we're coming in, closing in close here on the top. So I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna move this up here like this, because I think we're getting really, really close. And we'll just have to again watch the wave count, and I would be expecting more of a zigzag pullback, and maybe we pull back to the bottom of here of 4. We'll have to, that would be my guess, because it looked like we got a shallow intermediate wave 2, and it was a flat, So looking for a zigzag and more of a sharp reaction. All right, let's take a look at Alibaba tonight. There we go. Okay, so Alibaba, this arrow is where we actually got into calls, got our head handed to me. We're still in this, actually, not stopped out. I'm working a specific stop. The details of this are on the Trade Ideas webpage. And by the way, on the Trade Ideas webpage, I have started this week creating small, short 2 to 3 minute videos that are only viewable on this page. They're not on YouTube. They're hosted elsewhere, and actually hosted on Wistia, and therefore you only are able to see them if you have access to the Trade Ideas page. And what I'm trying to do is to give a little bit more background, a little more detail in terms of what I'm thinking, what I'm looking at when I'm talking about a specific trade idea, and why I'm thinking that it's that kind of detail. So if you're willing to subscribe and to get access to the Trade Ideas webpage, I thought I'm trying to take this a little one step further and provide a little more help, a little more insight into the trade idea. So that's what I'm going to start doing, and I started it this week actually. So we've got that out there, and so there's a short video that's talking about this trade. Now we're still in this. And we've got to stop down here below this low, and we'll see whether or not this bounces back or not. We may get hurt on it, but you know, it's like you just don't know. I mean, you can't predict exactly what the market's going to do. All you try to do is analyze and just roll with it. The next one we'll take a look at is New Oriental. Was right on it. All right, New Oriental Education and Technology Group, EDU. There was news, let's see. There was some news on it. I mean, look at how it spiked today. I'm not sure what it was. EDU is a private education company. So they provide private education services in China. So it's had a nice move here. It looks like a 5-wave move up, and we got a corrective move back to what looks like a 4th wave in here. So this looks like it's starting and trying to go, although this doesn't look like a 5-wave. It's hard to tell what kind of impulsive action is going on here. It could still be correcting. That'd be my caution. I mean, we could still have some kind of zigzag, A, B, and a C. Now, so, the other thing that jumps out at me is the 2 points of support in here that it got. So it's going to need to hold above that for sure. But right now, the action and the volume was huge, given what 8.7 million, given the background here. And this was the second most active of the Chinese stocks I'm following. I've got about 50 or so on a list, and the ones I'm looking at tonight trade above $20 a share is what I'm looking at. All right, so that's EDU, and then VipShop we've looked at before. I think we looked at it last Wednesday. And VipShop continues to trend down. We talked about this, how we had this rising wedge. It broke down out of this wedge. I actually was expecting us to break sharper, and maybe this is all we're going to get here. But I'm actually thinking that we're going to get to the bottom of the wedge, which would be more down in this area. We haven't closed this gap entirely yet. Okay, so that's a high of 22.27. So that would be down here. Got really, really close. Just haven't done it yet, and it continues to just slightly push down. Let's see. The next thing is 21 VNET, and 21 VNET Group is a data center type services company in China. They provide data center services to companies in China. It looks like it's putting in a huge bottom in here. And it could be the corrective action. When I look at this, it's hard to tell. I think this is all the trading now. This almost looked like I was one first impulse move, I call it a cycle wave move 1, and then a cycle wave move 2, corrective back, and then a big strong 3, and then correcting back 4, and then moving up again and trying to rally. And again, that would sync with the big bottom that looks like we're putting in. And the news I saw today was something about them receiving a going private proposal. And again, I have no details on it, so I'll have to just check the news sources on that. And the last one tonight is Qihoo 360, which I know I've mentioned before. It also looks like it's putting in a big bottom. Looks like putting in a head and shoulders. And with the price action that occurred on the last Friday, it definitely looks like that's what it's doing. So now I'm looking at this and trying to assess, the trends. The long-term trend and the short-term trend are still down. The intermediate trend is down. With the 21 below the 55 is what I'm looking at here. The blue-gray. Let me zoom in on this. Now it's only slightly, and they're both rising. So because of this price action, it could start to carry it and sweep it up like this. But from a pure technical chart pattern, this looks bullish to me in terms of the price action, and we get a close up above here. And I think this is going to have a chance to run. So I'm looking at, let me see if I can see the volume. Okay, huge volume on that move. Okay, that's really, really good sign. I'd like to see huge volume in here. It's rising. Nice volume in here, especially as compared to here. Okay, so that's a good sign. We had, volume spikes on this move in here. Huge volume cluster on this move here, and then a little bit here and here. So the volume looks okay for the head and shoulders bottom to me, just at a quick glance. So I'm going to be looking at this to see if it makes sense, to get on board here. I notice I have a note to myself: watch for big head and shoulders, and yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. All right, that's it for tonight. I'll be back on Saturday with the weekend market update. And so if you're watching this video anywhere else besides my website, head on over there. I've got a lot of other stuff that are there, posts and things like that to take a look at. And I am going to be relaunching, I think I mentioned this before, I'm going to be releasing the education course that I have, and I'm going to be breaking it into a couple of different pieces. And I'm going to be releasing that to the public here probably within the next week or two, hopefully within the next week or so. And so be looking for that. I'm going to have an education courses page of some kind, or a store page. I'm not really sure yet. But anyway, that's it for tonight. Everyone have a great Thursday, Friday. We will talk to you on Saturday.